but you also need to start thinking, what makes me happy? You know, and who makes me happy? Why am I hanging around with, you know, bimbo, you know, Betty? Sorry, anybody's, but you know, all she's interested in reality TV shows and how to get on TV, kind of thing. You understand? So in other words, you're stripping away all the people who really, and there are some. I mean, there are some really good people. Obviously, there will be good people around you, but some people aren't just. Some people, I hate to say it, most of them, that you're going to strip away are users. Oh, you know, could you just take me here? Could you just do me a favor and do this? Do my homework for me, whatever. You understand? So those people you want to evict and you want to push away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So what I use, and you've heard this before, I think, is a parody. It's a brief example. Remember the thing about what happens with a caterpillar? Do you remember that? And a caterpillar becomes, in a cocoon, it becomes a butterfly. Do you know what happens inside the cocoon?
Stays hollow.
No, you know what it happens? It wraps itself up, puts itself in a cocoon, and do you know it melts down to its cellular level?
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah. So okay, what happens when you go into depression? Most people are screaming in their head, right? It's as if they've got daggers coming through their bodies, and all they want to do is cry all the time, go into a cupboard, a clothes closet, on the floor, and then curl up into an fetus and just go and cry away, you know, like a security blanket. They don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to go outside the door. They don't want to talk to anybody.
They want to light.
Exactly. But because of that, that is why I'm saying their cells are being torn cell by cell. In other words, they're regenerating.
Recharging?
Yeah. Well, regenerating, creating a new body. In other words, a new body and mind and spirit. So basically, that's why certain people go into, oh no, I don't get depression. I said, okay. Who are you talking to? I know how far your depression is. So we'll call it a funk for those people who don't want to say they're in a depression. And so, you know, it is a depression because it is an implosion. It's not anything bad.
They just don't like the way it sounds.
Exactly. You know why? Because depression's a stigmas.
Yeah,
and it isn't. It's not. It's just a normal human condition that we are going through a regeneration. So, of course, during that period, sometimes I've not one somebody, this guy who has gone through about 21, 22 years of it, change. Okay? So you're not going through that. It's like going through into the sofa here. My God, no, you're not. So it goes into different time spans. Okay? So this one is really tied to a global shift, and there are some people who are going on, obviously, a personal shift, and that's why you're all fighting. You're all arguing, and don't you find, and especially emotionals and the logics, this one, there. And you're okay, but there are logics out there, and you know, these are friends of yours. If anybody around you, the logics, I'm going to explain quickly. Do you find people around you who are really annoying, where they want to pick a fight, whatever you wanted? If you agree, they're still picking a fight.
Yeah.
And they're very irritated. At the drop of a hat, they're arguing or angry. Right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Who's playing games? They couldn't take my earrings off. Yesterday they were doing it. So anyway, basically the same thing. They are, so does that make sense? There are people around you, and they are the logics. The logics aren't spiritually aware. If it doesn't say it in a book, and it's said by Einstein, Newton, or Plato, or whatever, they don't believe it.
They don't believe it.
Because it has to be in a book, it has to be by a scientist, they know. So in other words, if it's not explained, it's hogwash, it's rubbish, it's all total rubbish. So therefore, they're fighting themselves, and they're still trying to say, they see everything happening, but they can't rationalize it. Okay? So that's why they're getting worse, and they're going to get even more worse.
More annoying?
More annoying. Guess what's going to happen next year? The elections. They're going to be riots, because there's the logics going against the emotionals, who are high emotional anyway. So they're going head to head. So next year is going to be worse, and that's why I guess old psychics were saying 2012 is going to be massive. But it is only because there's going to be more riot, because there's an intensity of the transition of this shift. Okay? So, logics are going to be other than, you know, the bad thing is that they're argumentative, they'll pick a fight. And even though they're like having an argument, like somebody I know, I won't say who, but and having an argument, I'm agreeing, but they're having still the argument. And I'm just sitting there, I'm agreeing with you, because it's better that way, because there you go, even though I don't agree, but it's just easier that way, and they're still having an argument with themselves, basically. So I just sit there and then find another escape route to get out. So, in other words, you have to know what to do with that. If you go and confront somebody who's a logic, I hate to say it, they're going to be in your face and they're going to be 10 times worse. So that's why this psychic protection class is going to give you tools to actually use, and that's why you all had to be here. So even though you took it, what, 2 years ago? It must be 2, 3? Yeah, 3 years ago. So anyway, you need a kind of a refresher, okay? And we're going to ramp it up, all right? So basically you can use that and you won't be so angry. You've been angry a lot, right? Yeah. And it's uncontrollable anger. That's another logic thing, I hate to say it. That you can't stop, as if you're falling and you can't stop yourself falling. The same with the anger, you're going accelerating higher and higher. And those are the logics, they can't pull back. And when you find yourself in that, we're going to give you a quick exercise to calm yourself down, because what you're doing is only accelerating their anger as well. So you see you're facing off with other people who've got not only anger issues, but really they can't understand what they're doing. So you have to calm it down, and you can, and I can say, you can't manipulate anybody, you can't control anybody. Okay, I don't care what you say, but you can help the general atmosphere, so you can actually calm situations down. You do it automatically, but you need a booster, I think, even though you've been going into fear more. I mean, I can't breathe, right? Is it true?
Oh, I thought I was more angry.
Well, you're angry, but you're still going into fear, right?
Yeah.
And it's because you're just frustrated,
Yes.
right, with everything. And we'll talk about that why later. Where do you feel that you're kind of needing help? Yeah, depression. But you know what? It's just because you can't, you still miss your dad a bit, don't you? And I think that's a lot to do with it. Yeah, he's always there, but the thing is, you know, you go in waves, especially when you've lost somebody in such a horrible way. You kind of go in waves, so 1 minute you're okay, most of the time. It's improved a lot, but then you go down, and then you kind of come up. So what I'm going to try and do is to help you when you know that you're sliding down like a huge slide, water slide. I'm going to help you try and remember the exercise, bring yourself back up. Because when you go down that deep, that's where you are at. So deep you can't get yourself out. And you just lose everything and get lost, right?
Usually, when I feel like I have no control over anything, then I get in the depression.
Yeah.
I have no control over anything anymore.
Oh, you're talking about, I'm not talking about, you're talking about school,
yeah,
and, you know, studying and things like that. But you know, it's so packed to say everything happens for a reason, but this is part of your growth, okay? And you know, you have to understand, especially you two are in a stage where your full cognizance, your actual, you're growing still. I'm not talking about physical, but mentally, and you're, until about 22 to 25 really for guys, you're not fully, I'm sure, this age to about 21, 22, you were doing, no offense, some silly, stupid things, right?
Yeah.